All right, guys, so your reading assignment today says to go to your Scholastic Storyworks and read Out of the Burning Darkness. So let me show you how to get there. Click on that link you can see in your Google Classroom, and then Mrs. Wellman left your code to log in. It should be for Wellman. I think I've already signed in. So we're looking for Out of the Burning Darkness. It is under March and April 2020. Here it is. All right, on here, you can see that there's a couple levels. I would just pick the lower level. It makes it a little bit shorter for you. And then you can click to hear the story read aloud by a Storyworks writer, and they will read the story to you. Okay, so I'm going to leave this up here so I can read you the questions. All right, it says, after reading Out of the Burning Darkness in the March-April 2020 issue of Storyworks, go back and reread sections of the article to answer the question below. I've started the first two answers for you. So number 1, reread the first section of the article. What disaster does it describe? When does it take place? And she gave you the beginning of your sentence. So let's type the first section of the article describes what disaster. So let's go back and look. Here's the first paragraph. Let's see. Albert and the other miners were caught in the middle of one of the most devastating coal mine fires in American history. So there's your answer. It describes a coal mine fire. And then it asks, when does it take place? So November 13th, 1909. Make sure you're writing it in your complete sentence. Feel free to pause this video so you can type your answer. And then we'll move on to number 2. Okay, based on the section bright and brisk, what kinds of disasters could happen in a mine? How could miners exit the cherry mine if they needed to get out? So let's start our answer. Disasters that could happen in a mine include, we're going back to the section called bright and brisk. So let's scroll down here. Here's bright and brisk. And I already was looking. Here we go. Dangers at the cherry mine, as in any coal mine at the time, were everywhere. Cave-ins were constant threats. So were the underground gases that could kill a person in minutes. And perhaps most terrifying of all was the risk of explosions and fires. So we have cave-ins. That's one of your answers. Underground gases. That's another answer. And then lastly is risk of explosions and fires. Okay. Number 3, reread Transforming America. What can you conclude about why America needed so much coal? Well, let's start with America needed so much coal because, let's find Transforming America. And here in the third paragraph, you can see coal was fueling the trains speeding across America. They were also powering giant new ships, and coal was being used in factories to make the iron and steel needed to build America's bridges and skyscrapers. So we can say coal was fueling the trains, it was powering the giant new ships, and it was being used in factories to make iron and steel. Oops. Okay, number 4. Based on difficult and dangerous, why did kids like Albert Buckle work in dirty, dangerous coal mines? So let's start with kids like Albert. You know what? We're just going to say kids worked in coal mines because, and we'll go back to difficult and dangerous. Did you hear in the story it said children like Albert worked in the coal mines, some as young as 8 years old? Could you imagine having to go to a job every day that was that dangerous at the age you are right now? They're supposed to be at least 12, but they were ignoring the law. All right, it might be hard to imagine why parents would let their kids work in dangerous mines, but many families were so poor that they faced a terrible choice: send their children to work or watch them starve. So, children had to work in the mines because their families were so poor. All right, I am going to let you guys go ahead and skip number 5, 6, and 7. So you can put my initials, KM, so Mrs. Wellman knows you are skipping those last 3. Okay, so you need to complete numbers 1 through 4.